Hey everybody, I hope that you're doing okay. Wanted to make a video real quick. I just left the gym. It's, obviously it's dark outside, so the lighting isn't the best, but hopefully y'all pay closer attention to what it is that I'm saying as opposed to the way that I look. So I posted a video earlier for one of my songs, Siren. Did a lyric video, and I've been listening to that song a lot. I've been talking with one of my friends lately. We've just been talking a lot about that song and just what it means in general. So the song Siren, it's playing off of Greek mythology, sirens in Greek mythology. If you've ever read the story of the Odyssey, then you know what it is that I'm referring to. Even if you never read that story, if you're familiar with Greek mythology, then you know that sirens were half woman, half mermaid, and they would lure sailors to their deaths by singing them a beautiful song. And in this song, I'm talking about women. Now, what I'm going to say in this video, I'm going to try to not make it super long, but I have a lot to say. In this song, in the video, it's not about bashing women or anything like that. Really, I'm holding both men and women accountable. I said earlier in the post that hip-hop, and really this transcends hip-hop, but I'm talking really specifically about hip-hop right now, because so many of the songs you hear in hip-hop, they glorify sex in a very dangerous way. You have women that, like your Cardi B's and your Nicki Minaj's, they're always showing off their body, and their music is so sexual in nature. And then you have the guys who are always bragging about how many women they have, and they brag about how they steal another man's woman, which is nothing to be bragging about. Those aren't admirable traits. And I just believe that we need more men who are encouraging other men and who encourage sexual discipline, which is it's difficult to maintain that. Everywhere you look, I mean, sex is everywhere. It's ubiquitous, and there's no escaping it. You go on social media, you turn on the TV, it's there, it's being promoted, it's everywhere. So when I'm talking about in the song and Siren, and I'm talking about myself as well, I'm never trying to come from a place where it seems as if I'm better than everyone else or holier than thou, or I'm pointing the finger. I'm talking to myself as well. It's difficult to maintain pure thoughts, to walk that path of righteousness, because like I said earlier, sex is everywhere. And essentially what I'm talking about in the song is there's a woman, it's very interesting, actually hired a voice actress for the song. And of course she's speaking in a very seductive manner. And I'm just talking about my own personal struggles while also relating to other men. And Almighty Jesus, please forgive me, I mean it. It feels like I've been defeated, depleted, never really been a secret. Women just seem to be the weakness. Sinning, what I'm feeling is indecent. Grinning because I'm thinking that I need this vixen. The adrenaline increases, peep this. And I'm just talking about how there's a struggle inside, this tug of war, right? To not give in to your lustful desires, your flesh. You're combating and battling, indulging in the ways of your flesh, what your flesh wants to do. It's a very difficult battle. And so after that part in the verse, what did I say after that? I think I just start talking about just the dangers of it. Body's hypnotic. When lauded folly dims logic, stop it. There's really, I'm talking about just the beauty of a woman. So body's hypnotic. When lauded, or when you that's all you think about when you praise it. Folly dims logic, stop it. So you're not thinking clearly whenever you're just so wrapped up in how good a woman looks. You're not thinking clearly. Folly dims logic, stop it. Godless, caustic, monstrous bondage. Is she really being honest? Cautious. So be careful, because what this woman is telling you, you don't know if she's being sincere. You mess around and you'll be tied to and connected with and bonded with a woman that is going to end up making you miserable. So godless, caustic, monstrous bondage. Is she really being honest? Cautious. And then I get into some of the things you need to be cautious about. So godless, caustic, monstrous bondage. Is she really being honest? Cautious. She could be looking for a prophet, or maybe got a man that really lost it. She dainty and the talking is erotic. She could be crazy, even possibly demonic. Got it? So she could just be looking for your money. Maybe she's not even interested in you for real. She's just using you for your money and for validation. Or maybe she lied to you and she really does have a man and the guy's crazy. Because you have a lot of dudes, man, they'll hurt you, they'll put your life in jeopardy over a woman. So what did I say after that? Could be looking for a prophet, or maybe got a man that really lost it. She dainty and the talking is erotic. She could be crazy, even possibly demonic. Got it? So as men, we don't think clearly. We're too easy to give in to the ways of the flesh. So I would say that women are, pickier about, who it is they give them their time to than men. Okay, so a woman could walk into a bar and she could say, hey, who wants to go home with me tonight? And you'll have a lot of guys that would take her up on that offer. If a woman comes up to a guy and and asks, hey, do you want to go home with me? The guy will probably oblige. And we live in a society that, well, it's starting to be different now, because now you have this female empowerment movement, which, that's dangerous. That's toxic. That's a topic for another day. But as a society, we've largely been told that women are supposed to have purities, and they need to be selective about who they give themselves to. And as men, hey, you go out there and you conquer the world, and you sleep around and spread your seed and so on and so forth. But that's completely ridiculous. We need to be more careful and considerate about who it is we give ourselves to as well. We need to have more respect for ourselves in that. We need to value ourselves more than that. Okay, there's just so many complications that could come with that. All right. So, and then the hook, it's just me crying out to the Lord. So, Jesus, save me. I really have a weakness for the ladies. Try to fight it because I don't want it to break me. But every day I feel it's coming to take me. I try to read your words so I can flee from her, but on the real I feel ain't no escaping. Flesh says they look so good and dainty, but in the end I know that it'll betray me. And then I say the second time, and the second time you can hear the demon voice back there as well. That's temptation. That's the enemy trying to seduce you. So I struggle just like all any other dude struggles. So I'm no better. So never think that I'm trying to place myself higher above the rest of you guys, because it's not what I'm trying to do. I understand the struggle, and I understand how difficult it is. And so I have to ask for strength. I have to be careful, and I have to watch myself at the struggle. I used to go whenever it was open, the Hollows. It was a bar downtown. I used to go down there and perform and do some songs. I had to quit going because, and don't ever be so arrogant to think that you're strong enough to resist the seductive powers of a woman, because you're not. So just be smart and don't even put yourself in those kinds of predicaments to begin with. But I started out strong, right? But then your resolve will begin to weaken. So I started to let my eyes wander, my thoughts wander, and I liked what I saw, and so I had to stop going because it was tripping me up. So you have to be careful, man. So never think. And I used to be, I guess, confident or so arrogant to believe that I could resist, but you're just not. So, and the Bible tells us to flee anyway. So don't sit there and try to resist temptation in the sexual realm. Just flee from it and don't even put yourself in those kinds of situations to begin with. So that's the hook. And then she comes back in and she talks about, just more seductive talk. And then I come back with verse 2 and really getting into the dangers of just living that lifestyle and not having any sexual discipline. She flirtatious and so curvaceous yet dangerous. Beauty simply amazing, but her game is something so heinous. This sin, don't get sucked in. Never try to plan for these moments. Why? As many men have met their ends at the hands of a woman. So you've had a lot of men that have been destroyed by women. Just, Shannon Sharpe's a good example. If you don't know who Shannon Sharpe is, a Hall of Famer football player. I believe he's a Hall of Famer. He lost his job at SportsCenter as a sports announcer or commentator, whatever the title may be. And it's because he, hooked up with an OnlyFans model, and I guess he paid her some exorbitant amount of money to keep it, out of court and everything. But he lost his job because of that. And I'm not making fun of him. I'm not dogging him or nothing like that. But it's just that's happened a lot with a lot of guys. I mean, you go look at the Bible. I mean, Samson, big powerful dude, got cut down by tiny Delilah because he let his lust get the better of him, didn't have sexual discipline. Or you can look at Solomon, another great example. You look at David, right? And the Bible says that many who, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically all who were slain by her were strong men, or she's, slain many strong men, something to that effect it says. So never think that, but if these guys, Samson and Solomon and David, if they failed to lust and they couldn't resist the seductive powers of a woman, well then who am I? Who are you? So don't be so arrogant to think that. Be very careful about your thoughts. And that's why I said in the song, the flesh says they look so good and dainty, but in the end I know that it'll betray me, because it could come back to bite you and harm you and destroy you. You know what I mean? So many guys have had their lives ruined because they lack that sexual discipline. Maybe they went and they did take another man's woman, and maybe the dude ended up losing his life. It talks about that very thing in Proverbs chapter 7, I believe. The woman told the guy that her husband was gone on a work trip, and he was going to be gone for a while. He came home early, and then ended up, the guy ended up, dying. He lost his life. Kind of stuff happens a lot, where you lose friends over that kind of stuff, man. And I've almost lost a friend over a woman. Thankfully that didn't happen. And so you just have to be careful, man. You have to have that wisdom. You have to have that strength. You have to have that sexual discipline. And I don't think it gets talked about enough. I know she's flirtatious and curvaceous, but she can be dangerous. And she could hurt you. How can she be dangerous? Well, she could hurt your reputation. But you think this girl is perfect. Lies and accusations. Jailed, and you don't deserve it. Trap you with impregnation. Stuck, and you can't reverse it. After all this devastation, you'll be doubting if the curves were worth it. And I'm speaking to myself as well, man. It's tough to think whenever you have those hormones raging. It's tough to think, man. It's tough to think. But the laws are very biased in women's favor. And let's just be honest, society doesn't like men, especially strong men. Especially strong men. A woman could lie on a man. It's happened several times. It's happened so many times. And the law has a proclivity to believe the woman just because she's the woman. To believe all women movement and so on and so forth. I mean, look at Johnny Depp. It's a good example. Amber Heard lied, but yet really nothing happened to her. Johnny Depp, he had to pay an exorbitant amount of money to clear his name, and he lost roles, movie roles, and so on and so forth. And that's just one example. And I can't remember the name, but I think it was a baseball player, and some woman lied on him. The only thing that saved him was because it was recorded. There was footage or something like that, or I don't remember if it was like a footage or if maybe he saved text messages or something to that effect. But I'll try to look for that and I'll try to post about it. But you have so many of these examples. Look at, again, going back to the Bible, look at Potiphar's wife and Joseph. Now Joseph ran, but she lied, and he still ended up getting in trouble. And so, man, you just have to be careful. It's just not worth it, guys. It's just not worth the hoops and hurdles that you have to go through in order to protect yourself. And even then, it still may not work. It's really just not worth the trouble. So you really want to be careful, and you really want to be wise about who it is that you're dealing with. Don't just give yourself to any kind of woman. You know what I mean? Be very careful about who it is that you're dealing with. looking at this car that was driving by. I thought maybe they're getting concerned about me sitting in here recording. I thought they were going to pull up and say something. But so anyway, so if I got distracted there for a moment, if I was kind of rambling or whatnot, I apologize. So I just was looking at this car to see if they were, suspicious of me and whatnot. But anyway, so I'll say all that to say, and again, this isn't to bash women, but what's my point in all this? Well, sometimes I will ask myself, and I'll talk to my friends about it, and I say, well, Lord, what are we supposed to do as men? It's tough. Well, this life is tough in general, but specifically I'm talking about it's tough being a man. If you're trying to do the right thing, because it's a sin to have sex out of wedlock. But then when you look at the marriage laws, they're just not in men's favor, to say the least. And you don't have to take my word for it. There are plenty of attorneys that will say the same thing. The marriage laws are horrible. Did you know that, I believe it's in France, a man can't just go out and get a DNA test. It has to be court approved. If he tries to get a DNA test done, well, he could be jailed for a year, I believe, or he can be fined a lot of money. And that's because they know, they're hiding something over there, because they know that paternity fraud, which isn't a crime, by the way, paternity fraud happens a lot more frequently than what they would have that society believe. They don't want men to know the truth. So I just said that paternity fraud isn't a crime, and it's not. So a woman can lie to a man and say that this is his child, and then he finds out later on that it's not. But nothing's going to happen to her. Nothing's going to happen to her, and moreover, when the man finds out the truth, well, he's probably still going to be on the hook for paying child support, because he filled that father figure role, or maybe he already signed that birth certificate. And that's not fair, to say the least. I believe that DNA test should be mandatory, because there's just way too much at stake. A woman can leave a man, and she's going to get half. She's going to get half. Even if she's the one that steps out, she's the one that's not faithful, she's going to be, matter of fact, women are incentivized to leave their marriage because they get half. They get cash and prizes. Now, here are some interesting statistics. Typically, I'm not a statistic and numbers guy, but these are very important and they're very telling. So 50% of marriages in a divorce. Okay? Now, with that alone, if we were to go skydiving, and if there is a 50% chance that your equipment wouldn't work and your parachute wouldn't, deploy, people wouldn't be saying, well, do it anyway. But yet, that's what happens with marriage. As men, we're told to get married anyway, and to, you're not a real man if you, so on and so forth. People like Matt Walsh and, Ben Shapiro will say these things. And, it's kind of my issue with a lot of the, conservatives. Maybe we agree when it comes to certain politics, but when it comes to that, they don't really understand the plight of men, and it can be frustrating. So 50% of marriages in a divorce, 70 to 80%, I believe, it's the woman who files for divorce. Now, here's what's really interesting, because a lot of times they'll blame the man. The highest divorce rate is between two women. The next highest is between a man and a woman. The lowest divorce rate is between two men, which is very interesting. So when a woman is not in the equation, the relationship has a higher chance to succeed. Now, if that doesn't say that women are the problem in relationships, I don't know what does. Now, not to say that men are innocent, because you have guys that are just thirsty and they're simps and they're subscribing to OnlyFans and they're, just validating these women and leaving comments, and these women post provocative images and so on and so forth, and they're just giving them validation, which is why these women do this, because they know that they'll get attention. So, and a lot of men, we're becoming weaker. We have way too many men that just get run over by the woman, and that's the problem with these relationships. It's always about what the woman wants. Happy wife, happy life, right? And so what does that say? The man's always expected to sacrifice. And you look in the media, you look at the movies and so on and so forth, and the men, well, they're always portrayed as fools, buffoons, simpletons, weak, and they're incapable. And the woman has to always come and save the day. So this female empowerment and this feminist movement, it's very dangerous, and it's indoctrinating women. You have a lot of women that are indoctrinated, and there's so many ways that men give up their happiness. It shouldn't be all about what the woman wants, shouldn't be all about what the man wants. The man or woman, neither one of them should be put on a pedestal, but society pedestalizes and coddles women, and then men are put down every day. And you've seen my post. I post a lot about this kind of stuff. It's not about hating women, it's not about glorifying men. It's about, well, just maintaining that order that the Lord has established. The man is the head of the household, and then the woman, and then the children, and we've gone away from that. You have men that are becoming weaker again, just subscribing to OnlyFans and just being nice guys and letting women run all over them. And then you have women who the roles are being switched around, and they're being reversed, and which is all part of the agenda. Anyway, this video is 21 minutes long. I just wanted to give y'all some thoughts, give you some backstory and the meaning of Siren, and just really encourage you to take those words and take those lyrics to heart. And I'm speaking to myself as well, and I know that when your hormones are raging, it can be very difficult to have that clarity of mind, to think that way. It's very difficult to do so. And I know that your flesh says you look so good and dainty, but remember that in the end, your flesh is going to betray you. I know that it'll betray me. My flesh will. And it's tough. So with all that being said, sometimes I ask the Lord, well, Lord, what are we supposed to do as men? Because chances are, if I go and get married, I'm going to get destroyed. I'm going to get raked through the coals. I'm going to lose half. My kids may not even be mine. If they are, the woman gets majority custody. So what do you expect us to take that risk? What are we supposed to do as men? And I guess we're supposed to just suffer silently and struggle with that burning desire, that burning temptation. And it's tough. And there are good women out there. There are good women out there. But the issue is that a lot of guys, including myself, we've just come to the point where we feel like, well, maybe the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. Maybe we just don't have the desire to jump through the hoops. In order to find that good woman, you're gonna have to, it's like looking for a needle in a needle stack, as Joker from Better Bachelor would say. And I've learned a lot of this stuff in the past 5 years or so. I've been doing a whole lot of studying and doing a whole lot of self-reflection, and I've learned a lot, and it's unfortunate. And so again, what do you do with that temptation, with that desire? You don't want to do what these guys are saying. You don't want to go out there and spin your plates and get with a whole bunch of different women. That's not going to make you happy. That's not going to make you happy. You need to find your purpose. Go to the gym, or just better yourself. Better yourself, because this isn't it. Just going out there and having a good time, living it up in the world, that's not going to make you happy. That's not going to make you happy. I'm a lot happier than I used to be. I'm in a better place. I remember I used to feel empty because I felt like I needed a woman to make me happy. And sometimes I think it'd be nice to to have a woman, but like I've mentioned throughout the duration of this video, you have to jump through a lot of hoops, man. And I've really grown accustomed to just enjoying my own company. And I think I have, well, not I think, I know I have the Lord to thank for that. And so you need to get to a place to where you're self-sufficient, and maybe you know, the Lord will bless you with a good woman. But you know, all I'm saying is, you know, don't listen to what's being spewed out there in society. Don't worry about being a Chad or Tyrone, and you know, just going out there and being a ladies' man, because that's likely to just get you in trouble. We need more men who encourage sexual discipline. So I'm going to bring this video to a close, and Lord, I thank you for blessing me with the words to say and with the ability to do these songs like Siren. May they touch others, and even if there are women that are listening as well, maybe this is something that they struggle with. I pray that you bless them as well. But I know that this, you know, will touch men. At least I hope that it does. And pray for me to be humble, and I'm speaking to myself as well. So Lord, I pray that you give us strength in this day and age where temptation is everywhere, every corner, everywhere you turn, everywhere you look. You go to these gyms, you go on social media, you turn on the TV, and it's everywhere. And so it just seems like there's no escape, like I said in my song. But I'm trying, and I pray that you bless other men who are trying and who are struggling with this. We just ask for your mercy, and we pray that you give us strength and show us the way and give us guidance. And it's in your name I pray, amen. Thank you guys. I hope this video makes sense.